my name is Andrea. I am co-owner here at Inner Essence, and I'm a fully comprehensively trained certified instructor with the Stop Pilates method. And I'd like to show you today the anatomy of the reformer. So for the first time, if you've never seen a reformer before, it can feel a little bit intimidating. There's a moving carriage, there's a foot bar, ropes and loops. So I'd like to break this piece of equipment down for you so that when you come in for your first class, you're going to feel really confident. So Joseph Pilates was the man who invented the reformer during the First World War, and the methodology behind his form of movement, when he originally coined it, it was called contrology. And the story goes that he used the bed springs from the soldiers' hospital beds to make his very first reformers. So hence the resistance with the springs. So the reformer carriage is a moving surface. So we're always really mindful to never sit or stand on the carriage without a spring attached. The carriage itself has shoulder blocks which can be removed, and also a headrest. So when you first come in for your class, the carriage will have all of the springs not attached. The best way to attach the springs is kneeling or standing from the side. We always recommend to avoid sitting or straddling on the carriage without the springs. You run the risk of floating away from the gear bar and then you can't attach your springs. It's also really good tackling this from the side. You can make sure that you are straight onto the reformer and you're not going to tweak your lower back or hurt your arm or shoulder by maneuvering the spring awkwardly. So to place the springs on, the platform extender is moved out of the way, and this gives you access to the gear bar. Now, the gear bar sits in some slots in the front of the reformer, and it is designed to come out. So if the gear bar ever falls out, please don't be concerned. We will usually change the gear bar positioning if we are doing a jump board class, or if we have a client who is either very, very tall or very, very tiny and short, and we need to adjust the length of the reformer, especially for footwork. But as a general rule, the gear bar stays in the middle slot. The springs are color-coded based on their tension. So a red spring is 100% tension, a blue spring is 50%, and the white spring is 25%. To attach the springs, we always recommend grabbing the spring from the base and hooking it up and over into the gear bar. And the same to take it off, grabbing it from the base of the spring to lift it out. Try and avoid holding the spring from the very top of the toggle and dragging it. You'll end up getting to the gear bar, your fingers will be in the way, and you won't have anywhere that you can place the spring in. Once your springs are on, you then pop the platform extender back in place. And it's a really good habit to get into, to place the platform flush up against the wooden platform. We do a number of exercises where we stand on the carriage, and to avoid the platform from moving unpredictably, it's just a great habit to have it nice and flush against the wood. Now, this is your foot bar. We often will start our Pilates classes laying on our back on the reformer, feet against the bar to do footwork. Many exercises we either need to adjust the foot bar down 1 or 2 positions, or sometimes the foot bar needs to go flat. To do so, again, we recommend doing this from the side as opposed to straddling and trying to adjust from the seated position. Coming down, have one hand on the foot bar, one hand on the silver adjustment arm, and you lift both arms up and then hinge it down so that it's nice and flat. When we lift up the adjustment arm, just so that the arm doesn't clatter from one hook up to another, we hold the arm and the foot bar and lift it all the way back up to its highest setting. So we then come to our shoulder blocks. These are designed to slip out. So again, if they do come out during your class, if you're pulling a loop on or off, please don't be alarmed. They are meant to, but they usually just stay in place unless we specifically ask during a class to move them. We have our head block. Now, this can either be in a flat position or it can be chocked up, just depending on the individual's head placement, and your instructor will guide you if you need to lift it up slightly or not. We then come towards the pulley end of your reformer, and you'll see that every reformer has 2 ropes and 2 loops. And these can either be held in our hands or placed around our feet during class. Usually, it's a nice idea to just place the loops onto the hooks or just into the box that's at the end of your reformer when you do footwork, and then take them out and have them at the ready for when you need to do mid-back series or feet-in straps. So I'll now show you how to get on and off the reformer. It's common practice to see folks sometimes sitting on the carriage, and when they're ready to lay down, they do a little bit of a shuffle where they lay on the shoulder rests and think, oh, I've got to go a bit further, oh, a bit further, oh, a bit further, and then we finally get to a comfortable position. We like to teach what we call the nana roll. So sitting right on the edge of the reformer, one cheek hanging off, you're going to have a hand that's closest to the foot bar that's going to reach across to catch your shoulder rest. Place your head on the headrest and swing your feet up, and then you're ready to get right into your movement. To get off the reformer, just shuffle your hips to one side, and then you've got plenty of room to come back up to a seated position to change your springs. I'll show you how to place your feet in the straps as well. So, holding your loops in one hand, do your little nana roll onto your headrest, and then hold both the straps in your hands, keeping your head down. Press your feet against the foot bar to straighten your legs. And now you've got ample amount of rope to play with to place your feet in your straps. We're then going to place one foot into a loop, keep your knee bent and take the tension in that rope before you place your other foot in. This just helps to keep your pelvis and your spine connected to the carriage and avoid peeling up. What we will sometimes see in class is folks will have the carriage parked at the stopper and they'll be trying to reach their feet up towards the loops, or they'll lift their whole bottom off, which puts a lot of compressive load on the lower back, and then they're having to drag the feet forward. So by pressing both legs nice and long, it gives us lots of tension on those ropes to safely place our feet into the straps. And to come out, bend your knees into tabletop, take one loop out, and place that foot straight on the foot bar and straighten the leg. So again, you've got lots of loose rope, and then you can trundle the carriage all the way in and then swing yourself up to a seated position. So when we are doing our Reformer Pilates classes, there are many different positions that we may adopt during a class. We may start the session laying on our backs on the reformer, starting with footwork with both of our feet up against the foot bar, pressing the carriage out and in, moving against the resistance of the springs. We may then transition into our mid-back series where we hold the loops in our hands and we're moving our arms, mobilizing the shoulders. We'll then progress sometimes to place our feet in the straps, as I demonstrated earlier. And we can also sit and stand on the reformer, either directly on the carriage itself or with the assistance of a box. So we can often do a series called front rowing preps, where we will sometimes sit cross-legged, or we may sit on a box, moving the carriage with our arms in the straps. Similarly, we can sometimes do exercises seated facing towards the pulleys and doing our back rowing series. And we will also sometimes use our box during reformer classes. The box is normally kept either underneath the reformers, which are the high reformers, or you'll find a box at the back of your reformer if you're using one of our SPX Max machines. Now, the box can either be placed on short ways. When the box is placed on short ways, we're always mindful that the box hangs wider than the carriage itself. So be careful not to sit right on the edge and to cause the box to tip. This is the short ways orientation, and long box is directly down the middle of the carriage long ways. So we will use the box as an aid to either sit on. We can also sometimes lay on the box either on our tummy or on our backs. So things that you will always need to bring to your reformer class is either a reformer cover or a towel. This is to go over the carriage itself, and it means that you don't need to clean the carriage after your class. We sell reformer covers here at the studio. They have some elastic, they sit nice and firmly around the reformer carriage itself, and they also cover the shoulder blocks and the headrest. So reformer cover or towel is essential, and also bringing a pair of socks with you.